Since the NFL and the AFL merged in 1970, there have been more teams in the NFL than there are games on the schedule. That means some teams get an easier slate of opponents, while others get a harder one. No team that has played the NFL's hardest schedule in a single season has ever won the Super Bowl, indicating that such a grind is a bit too hard to overcome. We've already covered the worst performances with the league's easiest schedule. Now we will look at the best performances against the league's hardest schedule in any given season. We use Pro Football Reference to determine strength of schedule, but we use C-score to determine a team's quality, a single unifying number that lets us know just how good a team is beyond its record. As usual, a deeper explanation of C-score is included in the description of this video. For anyone wondering what's going on in this thumbnail, on the left we have Hardman, a robot master from Mega Man 3 on the original Nintendo. That makes this read as, "This is hard, man." And with Sisyphus rolling this boulder up a hill for the rest of time, I can say with confidence that we are the first channel in the history of YouTube to seamlessly blend the NFL, the Nintendo Entertainment System, and Greek mythology. It's pretty hard being this damn good. Thank you for joining us today. Let's count down this top 10. We start at number 10 with the 1995 Minnesota Vikings. They had the offense to perform well against the league's hardest schedule, but not so much the defense. At 8-8 with a positive point differential, they secured a C-score of 7.332. The NFC Central was right there with the AFC West in 1995 as the league's best top-to-bottom division, but Minnesota's games against the Steelers, 49ers, and the Cowboys pushed their schedule over the top. They went a very respectable 1-2 in those games and actually produced a +7 point differential. Their ultimate undoing was their 3-6 record in one-possession games, as opposed to their impressive 5-2 record in multiple possession games. The NFC's dominance over the AFC was waning at this point, but 8-8 just wasn't enough to get them into the playoffs, although they only fell one game short. Our number 9 team is the 2019 Seattle Seahawks. Like the Vikings, they were more offense than defense this season, and they found their way to an 11-5 record, but with only a +7 point differential. Their C-score is 7.519. Two of Seattle's 3 opponents in the NFC West had winning records, including the powerful 13-3 San Francisco 49ers. Out-of-division games against the Vikings, Saints, and especially the Ravens ratcheted this schedule up to the top. A 1-2 record in these games is good, but with the steamroller that were the Ravens, Seattle came out with a negative 13 point differential overall. Seattle's magic was their incredible 10-2 record in one-possession games, getting them into the playoffs and securing a wild-card round victory over the Philadelphia Eagles. The following week in Green Bay was too much to ask though, and their remarkable season was over. Going back just 3 seasons gives us the 2016 Denver Broncos at number 8. After their Super Bowl win, this team still had the defense, but not enough offense to match. Still, they finished 9-7 with +36 on the scoreboard and a C-score of 8.715. Denver had 2 different opponents within the AFC West that were both 12-4, but they also had tough matchups with the Texans, Titans, Falcons, and Patriots, all winning teams. They went 1-3 in these games, keeping a solid -5 point differential. Their 9-3 record in one-score games from the season before could not be replicated this season, as they slumped to 3-4, belying their excellent 6-3 record in multiple possession games. In the end, it was too many losses though. 10-6 was required to obtain the final wildcard spot, and Denver was 1 win short. As of this recording, the Broncos still haven't attained a winning record. We're back in the NFC with the 2007 Washington Redskins at number 7. Washington is solidly average across the board, finishing 9-7 with a moderately positive point differential, tying for the league's hardest schedule and grabbing a C-score of 9.592. The entire NFC East was at least 500 this season, and there were 3 more division champions the Redskins had to play: the Buccaneers, Packers, and Patriots. They held their own against Green Bay and Tampa Bay, losing by single digits, but got blown away against the Patriots on their way to 16-0. They held their own the rest of the way though, going 4-0 in the rest of their multiple possession games to help offset a 5-6 record in the single possession realm. 9-7 was good enough to earn a playoff spot, but the Redskins wound up taking their second big defeat of the season, going down to the Seahawks in Seattle. We've got another Broncos team at number 6, this one from the 2002 season. Tied for the league's hardest schedule, they went 9-7, supplementing an average points allowed with a well above average points scored, breaking double digits in C-score at 10.611. We have yet another division where every team was at least 500 or better, and yet Denver played 5 other games against winning teams, going an unlucky 2-3 in those games despite coming out with a positive 7-point differential. Yet the Broncos were pretty balanced, going 5-4 in one-possession games and 4-3 in multi-possession games. Quite simply, they had an above-average performance against a difficult schedule. In the end, Denver ended in a 4-way tie for the AFC's final wildcard spot, losing out on that tiebreaker and being denied a playoff opportunity. The other half of 2007's hardest schedule is here at number 5 in the Philadelphia Eagles. Their record was only 8-8, but they performed at an above-average rate otherwise, including a number 9 ranking in points allowed and a C-score of 10.688. Everything we said about the Redskins in the number 7 spot holds true for the Eagles as well. They played the Packers and Patriots just like Washington, but they played the Seahawks instead of the Bucks, a team that was on the whole better. Philly went 0-3 in these games, losing by a combined total of 10 points. In fact, they put a major scare into the Patriots, bringing a lead into the fourth quarter before ultimately losing. They took too many close losses, 5 of them in total, by 4 points or fewer to get into the playoffs, but their overall performance against that schedule remains laudatory. And now we have the other half of 2002's hardest schedule, here at number 4 in the Kansas City Chiefs. They too were only 8-8, but they outscored their opponents by 68 points thanks to being the highest scoring team in the league. Their C-score is 12.504. And score points they did, hitting at least 30 in half of their games and at least 40 in a quarter of their games. But they had problems stopping others from scoring as well. Like the Broncos in the same season, they played 5 non-divisional games against winning teams, but they went 3-2 in those games with a plus 16 point differential. They won just as many games by one possession as they did by multiple possessions, 4 each. But 7 losses by a single score, including all 4 times they scored in the 30s, sunk their chances. And at 8-8, the league's highest scoring team went to their couches instead of to the playoffs. For the 3rd time, we have a Denver Broncos team on this list. This one from 1986 at number 3. They went 11-5, with their positive 51 point differential coming a lot more from their offense than their defense, recording a C-score of 12.695. 3 of Denver's 4 AFC West opponents were at least 500, but they also had 5 games against teams with double-digit wins. Yet they went 3-2 in those games with only a negative 1 point differential. The Broncos went 5-2 in one-score games, lifting them to the AFC West Divisional Championship, where their one-score magic continued in the playoffs, beating the defending AFC champion Patriots by 5 and winning the AFC title in Cleveland by 3 in overtime after tying the game with the drive. Thus, while no team who has ever played the league's hardest schedule has won the Super Bowl, this Broncos team made it there. And they led at halftime, before losing by 19 to the powerhouse New York Giants. Our number 2 team was close to the Super Bowl, the 1990 Los Angeles Raiders. Their point difference of plus 69 doesn't scream it, but they were 12-4, with top half performances in both points scored and allowed, good for a C-score of 16.589. These Raiders only had 2 plus 500 divisional foes to deal with, but they played 5 out-of-division games against winning teams, and the worst team they faced out of division all season was 6-10, all while 10 different teams outside the AFC West were 6-10 on the year or worse. And the Raiders went 4-1 in those games, including 3 wins by multiple possessions. They won the West and advanced to the AFC title game, where they played the team that gave them their one tough loss, the Buffalo Bills. The Raiders lost the first game 38-24. They lost this one 51-3. This was the wrong season, especially for an AFC team, to mess with the Bills. And at number 1 is a team we've covered before in many different contexts, the 2005 San Diego Chargers. Scoff at 9-7 if you will, but a plus 106 point differential against the league's hardest schedule is unprecedented, and they've earned every last drop of that 21.623 C-score. And what a schedule! Outside of their divisional matchups with the 10-6 Chiefs and the 13-3 Broncos, San Diego played 7 games against winning teams, with 5 of those games coming against teams with double-digit wins. In those 7 games, their 4 wins were by an average of over 15 points. Their 3 losses were by an average of less than 3. This was a spectacularly unlucky team, and at a time where the AFC had now surpassed the NFC, 9-7 wasn't going to get it done for the playoffs. So while many look at this team and just see 9-7, C-Score sees it for what it really is. An excellent team who outplayed their killer schedule that just couldn't escape the fate of simply being the Chargers. Looking at the top 10 as a whole gives us one stark observation. 6 of the 10 teams here are from the AFC West, including the entire top 4. The NFC Central gives us 1, the NFC West gives us 1, and the NFC East gives us 2, both from the same season. That season joins 2002 in giving us teams that tied with the hardest schedule. The 1986 Broncos were tied as well, but the 5-win Eagles couldn't crack this list. In fact, every team listed here was at least 500, and every last one of them had a positive point differential on the season. Thank you so much for watching this video all the way through to the end. Give it a like if you liked it, share it around with some friends, and please do take a moment to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Ding that bell as well to receive notifications on all future videos. Let me know what you think about all of this. Is it surprising that the AFC West has dominated when it comes to getting the league's hardest schedule? Is it even more surprising that they perform so well, so often, under these circumstances? Do you think one day a team can win the Super Bowl while having played the league's hardest schedule? Share your thoughts on these topics or anything else on your mind down in the comments section below. Thank you once again, and until next time, I hope you have an awesome day.